So I have the honor of being Mercy Corps' first Global Gender Advisor. What that means is that I'm frequently asked if my job really is to tell people whether they're male or female. Now, the answer to that question is no, but it raises a good point, which is that gender is an often misunderstood term. So I'd like to run through a couple of definitions. Sex, biological fact, universal, largely unchanging. Gender, socially constructed, culturally based, varies by location, changing all the time. Now, gender helps to define our roles and our responsibilities in our families and our communities, our access to resources, our ability to make decisions, the power that we wield. And it's woven into our social fabric. But gender's not static, and we can shape the way it changes in positive ways if we remember two things. First, gender is so much more than just women. And second, if people are involved, then you can be sure that gender is also involved. Now, in the US, many think that we've overcome gender inequality. So the World Economic Forum releases the Global Gender Gap Report annually, which compares men and women's access to opportunity within their own country, and then ranks the countries. Now, let's see where we rank. We learned earlier that Philippines is a beautiful place. We also now know that they are kicking our butts in gender equality. Now, if it's any consolation, we are not alone in the need to address gender equality. Can you guess what group represents 64% of non-literate adults globally? Women. And did you know that children who are born to literate mothers are 50% more likely to live past the age of 5? Now, this is why those definitions are so important. Women do not have lower literacy rates because of biological fact. We have lower literacy rates because we have less access to resources. And that's something that we can change. East Africa, Eritrea, people running away from their homes because of conflict, going to places that look like this. Now, in these camps, in one camp in particular, there were mostly families, but there was a group of young men who'd been separated from their family. They were single and sort of off to the side. Now, in these situations, aid workers tend to distribute food. In this case, raw bulgur wheat. Open up your envelopes, please. There's some raw bulgur wheat in there. Pull it out, give it a taste. Now, as soon as the food distributions began, malnutrition rates in the camp dropped for everyone except the young men. The young men got worse and worse, and they started to die. Why? Well, they were eating the bulgur wheat raw, like you are right now. In addition to being really gross, raw bulgur wheat provides no nutritional value. These men were literally dying with the food that they needed in their hands because they didn't know how to cook, because that was a gender skill that women and girls learned. It's hard to imagine a situation more free of social constructs or gender than the 2004 Indian Ocean tsunami. We're talking about a great big wave crashing into the coast. That has nothing to do with gender, right? That's what I thought. 175,000 people died in the tsunami. 2/3 were women and girls. Imagine Geldwen Stadium filled with women and girls 5 times Why? Again, those gendered skills. Women and girls didn't know how to swim or climb trees, which were actions that were life-saving in the midst of a tsunami. What happens when you lose a segment of the population like that, such a huge portion? Well, there are all of these gendered responsibilities, right? Cooking, cleaning, childcare. Someone's got to do that work. Girls who survived the tsunami became child brides. This in turn results in decreased literacy, poorer child health, increased maternal mortality rates, because these girls are having babies before their bodies are ready. This is our uncharted territory. Gender is not a new concept. We've been building gender into our programs for years, and we thought we had it covered. We also thought that half the people who died in the tsunami were male and half were female. We've learned that we need to become much more sophisticated in how we integrate gender into our programming. We've also learned that it's often the smallest changes that can achieve the greatest impact. In Sudan, Mercy Corps has a program where we distribute books to schools. In one school, there were both boys and girls. Now, because we've learned, we didn't just drop off the books. We returned to the school and checked to make sure that everyone had received supplies. The girls had not. When we asked why, we were told that it's a waste of resources to give girls books. Now, this is a problem that was easily solved. We just changed our distribution process. Why am I telling this story? It's one school in Sudan. So what? Well, you can increase a country's GDP by 3% when you increase the number of girls attending school by 10%. In Sudan, that would be $2 billion. And there's nothing small about that. When we're paying attention, we can shape those gender roles in positive ways. We literally grow economies. We improve global health. We save lives. To do that, we need to remember that, first, if people are involved, gender is involved. Second, I ask everyone in the room, when you see gender inequality, act. The first step is to raise your voice and speak out, because it takes a community to change gender roles. Oh, look, camel. Let's pretend that this camel represents our global community. One leg represents men, one women, one boys, and one girls. Right now, that camel's legs are tied by gender inequality. Now, we're in this together, and we're not going to make it down the road and out of global poverty until we untie the camel's legs. We have the power to do this, but it's not easy to challenge the gender norms around us. We have to be brave. Be brave enough to untie our camel's legs. Thank you.